The Smooth Breakfast presents the headlines, the stories.
Studio, mics are up. And a good morning to you once more, Lagos. You're tuned in and listening to Smooth 98.1. It's Smooth Breakfast with Valentine.
And Folu.
And right now it is 7:31, which means it's time to jump into the world of newspaper analysis right here on Smooth Breakfast. Helping us do that, we've got our fantastic analyst in the studio. Funmi Odude is in. Good morning, Funmi. How are you?
I'm fine, Folu. Good morning, Lagos.
Hey, great to have you here. And we've got Ugo Dre as well in the studio. Good morning, Ugo Dre.
Hi, Folu. Morning. Hello, Lagos.
Excellent stuff. Great to have you both with us this morning. And Lagos, you know that we've got you as well. All you have to do to join in the conversation is send a message to our WhatsApp number, which is 0809 444 0981, or you can leave a comment on our YouTube live stream. Just make sure you hit the subscribe button when you find our YouTube channel by searching Smooth 981 FM Lagos, and of course use the hashtag freshlypressed981 up on Twitter as well. But let's jump into our first set of stories for this morning.
From ThisDay newspaper, I have this headline: Court orders ex-Air Force Chief Amosu to forfeit 2.2 billion naira to the federal government. So the Federal High Court in Lagos has ordered the temporary forfeiture of 2.2 billion naira recovered from the former Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Adeshola Amosu. Is in this expert order that they granted, really, application by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, that they noted in the first ruling. They asked that the sum of 2.2 billion naira be forfeited to the federal government, and the second ruling has also granted an interim order for the temporary forfeiture of 190 million naira. So in all the sums that we're looking at, for me, isn't it mind-boggling? Even regarding the properties that were found in different locations in Ikoyi and Abuja.
You know, before you read out this kind of stories, it almost feels like you have to title the series that public officials have gone mad again. So let's tell you. We have 2.2 billion naira. That was said to have been recovered from the ex-Air Force Chief, that's Amosu. We have over 190 million naira recovered from a former Nigeria Air Force Director of Finance and Budget, Air Commodore Lubenga Badebo. We have 101 million naira recovered from the company Solomon Enterprises, a company linked to Amosu. And then we have properties. You know, let me even read this part. It says that between July 17 and September 16, 2014, that's the space of 2 months. Within 2 months, both Amosu and Adigo are allegedly to have removed over 653 million naira.
2 months.
2 months from Nigerian Air Force accounts, and they purchased properties in London, they purchased properties on Bodilon in Ikoyi with another 900 million naira, and another property in Victoria Island with 1.5 billion naira, and then we're talking about properties in Abuja. About 4 or 5 properties in Abuja.
Choice locations.
Very choice location. I remember seeing on social media somebody's tweet about when the story of Akingbola coming back to the High Court and all of that came about, and the money was in millions, and the person tweeted that, you know, at the first time it was first arraigned, the money looked so huge, like how could somebody have done that?
Because of the
now,
exchange rates at the time.
For now, you look at the millions that you consider, is that all? Like, it has become that outrageous, and it's really, like I said, with all the talk of mental health going on, we need to also check, as in, how do you still to this extent? How much do you think you want to have?
Here's a question: are we getting a lot of this information as well because of things like the Freedom of Information Act? Because
for very good reasons, the EFCC seems to be not just in a prosecutory mode right now, but also in recovery mode. Yeah. Because much more than ever before, they have used this provision of the EFCC Act, which permits them to go to the court and ask for an interim order for feature on what they perceive to be legal process, much more than ever before. So it's because of that we're now beginning to see a whole lot of recoveries, a whole lot of recoveries and all of that. And It is
It's
it is
mind-boggling.
mind-boggling, and it is wicked. I mean, it's not just theft; it is murder. Imagine this amount of money in the Air Force. Imagine what it could have done. I mean, we're having to get loans to borrow to buy equipment, to buy Air Force craft and all of that. Imagine what this money could have done. So it goes beyond mere theft. This is actually murder. There are lives that have been lost because the money that was supposed to be used for security was used to buy properties that you probably wouldn't live in.
Thank you very much, Funmi, for that expose. It's just left me a little bit uncomfortable. Now, on The Guardian, we have the story from The Guardian. Dangote deep sea pipeline to boost Nigeria's power generation by 12,000 megawatts. So the group, they have a project that's termed the subsea pipeline infrastructure. Is expected to actually augment the national domestic gas supply and add an estimated 12,000 megawatts to Nigeria's power generation capacity. Ugo, your thought?
I was going to start with, are we in the Federal Republic of Dangote? Like someone said.
Remain small. Remain small.
Because even Ghana is saying they prefer his own.
Anyway,
channel.
but so that we don't miss the whole point here, it's not that he's going to give us 12,000 megawatts of electricity supply. I mean, that's humongous. If you consider the fact that we currently have, I think, installed capacity of around 8-9, depending on who you're reading from.
Exactly.
1,000 megawatts, and then we generate maybe around 4,000 or thereabouts on an average daily. 12,000 megawatts is quite huge, so I don't know if maybe our newspapers are at it again with numbers, just branching numbers. 12,000 megawatts. If I add 12,000 megawatts to what we have currently, then I mean I don't think anyone's going to complain about power supply at all. So, but what Dangote is basically doing here is that he's going to install pipelines across the country, or where gas is being currently produced, and then have it channeled to generating companies across the country. And that has been a major challenge for most gencos, being able to access to get gas. But it's not cheap. It's not cheap at all. So if this is completed, you'd expect the tariffs to actually go up. Yeah, expect tariffs
Because
to go up
it has to be paid back.
Yeah, because gas cost and gas transportation is one of the most expensive components of tariff bill.
This is very interesting, Ugo Dre, because as you talk about this story now, my mind flashes back to just yesterday talking about the Nigeria-Morocco, talking about the Nigeria-Algeria pipelines, and people complaining and saying, well, why don't we have that equivalent across Nigeria? And this is what we're seeing as development now. Has that not been the case for funding reasons? Why do you think it's taken so long to have this happen?
Yeah, we actually have gas pipelines already in the country. I think Orlando pioneered this some years back. But the challenges that we've had basically has been cost-reflective tariffs. So you actually build gas pipelines, and then the gas companies can't pay you because the gencos can't pay the gas companies. You see, so it's an entire value chain, and the gencos can't pay because the discos can't pay as well. And everybody's complaining about cost-reflective tariffs. So you can't charge the right electricity fee, and because you can't charge the right electricity tariff, then that trickles down to gas companies, and that affects investment. But nevertheless, I think in future, maybe in 30, 40 years' time, when Nigeria eventually becomes an industrialized country, I think we'll always remember that. I mean, to be fair to him, he's taking a lot of risk in areas where a lot of people
are too scared to.
Yeah, I mean, you can call cooling capitalism and all that, but man, he's actually gone into areas that you actually don't expect a lot of business in.
We've got a few messages very quickly to get through up on WhatsApp. This one is in from Uboma Chidozie, who says, with all this recovered money coming up from where I don't know, I feel like it will still get worse. The reasons also are not far-fetched to me. All I have to say is that elections are near. Let me get my popcorn, relax, and watch the movie as it unfolds. Okay, Uboma, we see you. Everyone's watching that movie right there with you. We've got somebody commenting on the Eagles. No, we're not talking about football this morning. Wamwiwa says, these guys are the reasons people like me struggle to buy land. They have artificially driven up the price of real estate with stolen funds. The entire real estate industry should be investigated. And finally, this is in from Nonso, who says, Nigerians are mean. There must be something fundamentally wrong with us to make us want to steal unrepentantly. But some of these men steal because the future holds burning for you after you retire. Okay, let's move on.
Vanguard has our next story. Nigeria working with UK to deny revoke treasury letters visas. So the Special Presidential Investigation Panel, Funmi, they said they're partnering with the United Kingdom's Home Secretary to ensure that some public officers perceived to have looted public funds and illegally acquired assets both in Nigeria and the UK were prevented from entering the country.
Yeah, and that's where I have a problem with perceived. In filling all those forms, usually criminal records are part of what you ask for, and I'm not sure how far they will go with suspects.
Yeah.
And that is the key. That is one of the key. Is also important. In case that a human rights lawyer has brought regarding the presumption of innocence, we've had the issue of Lai Mohammed's legal. We've had the issue of now he's challenging the EFCC with the act of placing placards on suspects, and when you look at that, until we get prosecuted, until there are prosecutions, the law imputes innocence on you. So I'm not sure how far we could go with that until we deal with the prosecution. When you say, oh, because we are suspecting him of committing a crime, please don't give him visa. And we're talking about a country that is supposed to recognize human rights. Another problem I do have is this special presidential investigation panel. I'm wondering how much power they do have.
Yeah.
We've talked about duplication of agencies and all of that, and I'm wondering
What is
what creation they are. Sort of like, do they have? I can directly answer that I'm sure they do not have any form of prosecutorial power. So are they advisory? Are they monetary in nature?
Well, I mean, here's a question that maybe some people out there will have, because we are concerned about the amount of looting that does happen in the country. And people will say, could suggest things that would say, well, it's not about accusing someone of being an out-and-out looter, but if your name has come up and there is an investigation, is you are a person of interest? Is there a problem with having you on a sort of watch list to say, listen, pending further, conclusion? And that perhaps could be a way of going forward. And I mean, denying you a visa is not the end of the world, or withholding your visa, especially if you're in the government, especially if you're in that situation. Shouldn't they be held to a higher standard in some regards?
Definitely. Having people of interest is it's, well, should I say, it's normal in criminal investigations all around the world. But the idea of because you're a perceived looter, the UK Home Office won't grant. I know we work with the UK Home Office a lot. In fact, that's for some so definitely they know. And then it's just because we have this nature of not. You could be on the suspect list for years without any form of prosecution. There has to be. The truth is, according to our law, it might not be that way in public view, but according to our law, you are innocent until the court of law has proved you guilty. For us, every public official is guilty, but in terms of the actual reality of the law, he is innocent.
But you can be innocent and stay in Nigeria. Is it?
Folu doesn't just want them going anywhere.
I'm just speaking on behalf of the people that will have these questions as well. But let's move on.
So our next story just underscores the need, it begs the need for proper investigation, and like the previous story that we're just analyzing, the need for people to carry out proper investigations and not really rush to make publications or carry out media trial. So this one is from ThisDay. The Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON, yesterday lost its bid to take over the land known as the Federal Secretariat Complex in Ikoyi, Lagos, as the Federal High Court in Lagos dismissed its debt recovery suit it filed against the businessman Dr. Wale Babalaki, who's a SAN. The court also awarded a sum of 3 billion naira in damages to him. Funmi.
Yeah. Okay, so from the details of the story, we can get that there was some form of loan given to Resort International, which is the company. AMCON, by the time they took over the loan as a bad debt from First Bank, claimed it was a loan. The company claimed it was equity contribution.
Right,
it was
that
money
was wrongly
advanced
classified.
that was wrongly classified as a loan, and therefore should not have even fallen among the classes of loans that AMCON can acquire from a bank. What is actually important, there's somewhere in the agreement and in the news story that talked about an arbitral award. So it clearly means that the same issue had gone an arbitration. The arbitral panel had awarded 55 billion naira to the company earlier, apart from this, but AMCON still went ahead to. And when we create some of these agencies, in order to give them power to act, their powers are usually enormous under their acts. So AMCON, without the same way EFCC goes to court for an ex parte order, which means they don't hear the other side to confiscate properties. AMCON does have similar powers, so they go before they inform you. So half the time you become aware that AMCON has taken over your loan by the time they seize the properties that were collaterals to the loan and all of that, and then you start to fight it out in court. Those powers are necessary for them to actually properly function, but a lot of times you find that those powers are also abused, and this is the resultant effect of it.
Are they too eager to prosecute that they fail to carry out proper investigations, or what?
Well, it could be that, and then people say there's a political angle to it, and there's also the fact that they want to recover and they want to use force of mind. It's always executive mind. I can't do it, and I feel like I can get away with it.
All right, thank you very much for that. We've got a few messages. I'll start with Olori Africa, who sends in a message up on our YouTube platform. She says 12,000 megawatts. What? The EKDC should give us meters so that we can use it. Sorry, no, they're coming in just a little bit. Up on Twitter, a few more messages have come through. Omowumi Molara 26 says, really, it is the madness of public officials. Why should anyone that isn't involved in large-scale business have up to ₦1 billion in their account? That is where the EFCC should even be starting their work from. And Okonkwo Samuel says, it's good that Dangote is now our savior along many fronts, from refinery to power and so much more. So imagine how far the country will grow if the same opportunities given to Dangote are given to other investors. Interesting. Up on WhatsApp as well, the message is still pouring in. Ace from Ago says, Nigeria working with the UK to revoke and reject visas of treasury looters. So who are those treasury looters? If we already know them, are they in court or jail now? While somebody else sends in a differing opinion, Nonso says, visa is not a right but a privilege, as a country can refuse you visa on allegation or suspicion of a crime. It's that simple. You don't need a conviction before such discretion is exercised, says Nonso. Interesting. Let's move on now to more stories. This is in from the New Telegraph. A court has reinstated YabaTech bursar and awarded 21 million naira in damages. Now, Ugo Dre, I'm going to you for this particular story, and it is interesting to note that the National Industrial Court has demanded that the management of Yaba College of Technology immediately reinstate its embattled bursar, Mr. Olu Ibiroba, who was sacked for apparently exposing alleged corrupt practices in the institution.
Interesting story. I think this is one story that underscores the bravery that is usually involved when you try to whistleblow, right? Especially when you whistleblow without that 5% extra that you probably will get. So there's a lot of brave people out there who try to expose corruption in government or higher institutions like we've seen here. And then when you do that, you might probably get sacked as well, right? And probably don't get protection. So this is a case that's probably going, I think, since 2014. The bursar is Mr. Ibiroba, so I think he accused the school of corrupt practices, the school management of corrupt practices, and that was in the tenure of Dr. Margaret Kudirat Ladipo. I think she just left. She finished her tenure in March or so, and they have a new rector in YabaTech. So despite that, they sacked the bursar, so he took them to court. But the judge was actually very upset. And the judge was upset because he had actually, I don't know whether it's a she or he, she had actually awarded damages to the bursar, right? And then the school still went ahead with bad advice, according to the judge and the lawyers, to continue to press on, right? And it took this to to the same court again. And so she was angry. She even now gave more punitive charges, and she basically chastised the lawyer and told defendants like, look, you gotta be sure that you have lawyers that are giving you the right advice.
Absolutely.
Because there's actually a lot of lawyers out there. Sorry for me. Who probably just deliberately drag these cases, right? I'm sorry for you.
That's what we can
I don't know.
part of the case.
She was very upset.
You have to have
Right, she was very upset. I mean, like it's written here, and she was very upset, and basically, awarded 25 million
aspect of saying if you don't pay within 30 days,
Mhm.
that it will incur an interest of
Interest of
10%.
10%,
And this
yeah.
is to motivate them to not continue with their delay tactics, I guess.
Yeah, but it's a lot of bravery, Folu. It's not easy to whistleblow, especially on your superiors.
Absolutely.
And being a bursar, I mean, like this must have been somebody who would have been in the center of money flowing.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So you'd have seen all these things go through, but to come out and whistleblow, it's actually tough. So we should
Commend
very
that.
brave, yeah,
Very
commend
very
that.
brave, Mr. Olu Ibiroba. We hope that there are more people like that out in the world who will speak up when there are things not
Especially
going
now
right.
that there's 5%.
Oh wow, incentives. But let's move on though. Up next from ThisDay newspaper, the IG approves the NHRC's request for an audit of police detention cells. It's a bit surprising for me that the story is so short because it's such an
Honestly.
amazing story to hear that the Inspector General of Police, yes, Ibrahim Idris, has approved the request of the National Human Rights Commission to carry out an independent audit of detention cells, including all the SARS, that's the Special Anti-Robbery Squad cells as well.
I'm hoping he's not even open. He's likely to regret this decision because
Right.
the amount
It's going to expose a lot.
it's going to expose a lot, and we've been waiting. People have been saying that with the cry, particularly against us, this, it would be really bad if this administration ignored it without doing anything. And this is a first step, and this is using the NHRC is like, okay, yes,
It's the right channel.
It's the right channel
Okay.
to use for this kind of thing. The amount of information is going to expose. Oh my God.
So this is the thing
That's
for me.
another thing. Hopefully we're not going to turn it into another Amnesty International.
Well, for
report.
me, what I really want to know, right, is it's almost unprecedented that we're seeing
Yeah.
a security arm agree wholeheartedly this is not being
Independent.
forced to have this independent audit. What do you think the Inspector General of Police is trying to prove with this, knowing, and he must know, that it will uncover a lot of sharp practices? So, I mean, it almost, if someone had been trying to hide it, why would they
Yes.
agree to
It
this?
almost makes me want to think that it wants a form of transparency.
Okay.
Okay, so
To force the transparency
to
issue.
force the transparency issue. So okay, you get to a point, you get to a position in office where you don't know what's on ground, where you don't know what's really happening with your boys. And when you hear all those stories and you have your officers coming to tell you, oh, it's a lie, oh, it's just a bad few eggs. So maybe he really wants to know, okay, let me know how bad the state of affairs are. Let's see how bad they are, and then we could work from there. Because and that's why it's important that they're going through this channel. They can't call private individuals to do it. They can't just take the word of Twitter folks for it. And of course, they tried to use their own organization with the under the last IGP, the report, the police report desk that every station is supposed to have. They've tried to use their own institution to try, and obviously it's not working. So let's get an independent body, one that has credibility. Maybe let's do an independent audit. This is a fantastic step. We'll deal with the report when it comes up, but at least it's a fantastic step.
Somebody that's definitely not agreeing with you here. Anti-Yellow Sends in this instant tweet says another illegality. The NHRC, as per its mandate, can inform the IG about an audit, not beg his permission. Why do we like giving officials more power than the law gives them?
Well, it's not begging per se, but you want to carry out an independent audit of police cells. If the police is not allowing you, trust me.
Especially
you have no
access to
audit.
their facilities,
Exactly.
right?
It's not going to happen. Thank you very much for that, Funmi Ugo Dre. Let's talk about the NCC now. They withdrawn about 36.6 million telephone lines from telecoms operators. Now, these are a lot of lines that they say have perhaps been out of use for a while. A number of operators who have lost their licenses, maybe not renewed their licenses. We're seeing familiar names from the early 2000s that perhaps are not so much around anymore. But I mean, what are your thoughts, Ugo Dre, on this?
Yeah, I was reading it and I saw 01.
Yeah.
No more 01.
Yeah,
Like,
there-
how can it's not possible? Like, no more 01. Like,
mean,
you can't dial 01
There's
again.
a lot.
That's
Alpha
sad.
Wireless, Mobitel.
053.
084.
Wait, come
That's
on.
supposed to be Port Harcourt.
I mean, like, it's not fair. Even Abuja 09.
Right.
I like a lot of nostalgic thoughts here. But anyway, a lot of these numbers are outdated already. People hardly call 01 or 42 was this dialing code back in the days. So NITEL is it NITEL? NCC is basically saying these numbers are obsolete, so they have to basically cancel it. I think they're also likely introducing new country codes. So the country code for Nigeria, of course, will still remain +234, and then they will now categorize it into 5 classes: geographic numbers / number areas for fixed communication services, then non-geographic numbers for mobile services, which is why you can have 08 wherever, right? And then vanity and toll-free, and then premium numbers. So I think it's about time. We've come a long way since the advent of GSM 2001. We all recall we had 500,000 lines back in the days. Now we have about 8 million lines, and a lot of people rely more on GSM. And these days you can actually have a SIM card put in a desktop phone, and then if you still want to have your pack, once you have that memories of your landline, you can have it put in a desktop phone and put in your office or in your house, and it still works like a regular one. So the days of 04201, sorry. Except you want to be a Doctor Who.
I just imagine in the future we'll get to tell our children these stories.
I mean,
once upon a time.
Even now, like, I mean, think about it. Anyone born after 2000, say after 2000, is about 17 years old, isn't it?
Yeah.
16 years old. Yeah, I mean, I just want to. I never really grew up to try 042 or 01, so it's incredible.
We have a message in from Henry on WhatsApp. Says, since the unexplained wealth order became operational, the UK has embarked on cheap image laundering. They should make registry of beneficiary or beneficial ownership structures publicly available. All this visa, that is old story. And Samuel from Lekki sent in this one and said, I'm sure you've heard things like this investigation was conducted by an independent body and they found us upright. Certainly, the police may have mechanisms to make them look good, or they actually do not see anything wrong with what they're doing.
Interesting. All right. Of course, a little voice of pessimism that just underlines what we do in this country. Let's move on. Final stories in from the Punch newspaper. Ekiti Assembly suspends sleeping honourable. Now, while it seems like quite an amusing headline, and it seems that sleeping would be his biggest crime, it's not. They've also accused him of alleged terrorism, which doesn't seem to go very well with sleeping. But Ugo Dre, your thoughts?
Yeah, some contradiction there. Because when I saw it, I was how can you be a sleeping
Are you sleeping terrorist?
And you're also a terrorist. How do you even bandage as a sleeping terrorist or terrorist sleeping? Which one comes first?
Sleeper cells, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, sleeper cells.
Sleeper cells. That's the best I can do this morning. My jokes are epic.
Come on. I think, was it a few years ago they had this something similar? I think it was even a speaker also, like they tried to,
But I mean, on a more serious note, they do have problems with Mr. Sunday Akini. They are saying that he really doesn't care about his constituents, and he is involved in a number of questionable activities there. That's what the implication is.
Yeah, so what they said is that so whenever he comes to the assembly plenary, he usually sleeps or it's not basically not interested.
And responds.
And most of the time he's not even present. But then when he even comes, he just sleeps.
And responds with insults.
Yeah, they even told him to go and rest or go and take care of his health. And then when you advise him, he just throws insults at everyone.
What a problem to have.
He's threatening them that he sees the mace.
He's threatened violence against the mace. That's the new thing, apparently.
So you just wonder the kind of law we can still have in this country, for God's sake. And I've always wondered, can't we just, isn't there like, for me, I don't know if we have this already, like maybe minimum number of plenaries that you can attend.
It's one of the grounds for recall.
Yeah, so
the recall
but I mean,
process itself is
it's too rigorous. Yeah, so maybe because I mean, a lot of them are taking advantage of this. I mean, you watch them on TV and you just see empty seats. You know, so
but it
and we pay them. They actually get paid. Taxpayers pay this money.
But here are a couple of questions. When we look at recall processes, and we've only seen it sort of in action once in our lifetime. Is it not supposed to be deliberately rigorous so that people don't engage in mischief by continuously getting rid of lawmakers? But do people understand what the process is? I know the process is there, but I think that you also have to look at it again. I mean, laws are made for man, not the other way around, right? So, if on the balance, I pay you to do a job, and you're not doing that job half the time, then it's either I take that money back from you or I get you out. So regardless of whether you're doing a recall or not, but for me, the fact that we have lawmakers who sometimes don't even attend plenary at all,
but still collect all their benefit and allowances. I think it's just
And
really
then I have a
unfair.
suggestion. With the amount of money they are making, they should make the same law that they make for civil servants for them. Don't engage in private business if you want to be a senator. You're
Exactly.
making them money.
There you go. On that note, we are done with our news stories for this morning inside of Freshly Pressed. Thank you to our analyst. At Funmi Odude is Funmi Odude's handle, and at Ugo Dre is Ugo Dre's handle. I think we have time to read out maybe one more message before we officially call it morning.
PC sent this one. It says, I'm aware of 3 companies, NGC GasLink and SPDC, with gas pipeline running in some parts of the country, and they have their various catchment areas. Would Dangote have a monopoly on this catchment areas? I doubt it. That's the question, and everybody's just going off on sleeper cell.
All right. No time for that now. We do have to switch lanes coming in at 8:15. We will be discussing entertainment inside of the Grapevine. Good morning, Lagos.
The headlines, the stories, the